He Shradhavana Jana He Prabhu Agai Bai Magiye Bhiksha Prabhu Agai Bai Magiye Bhiksha Bolo Krishna Bhaja Krishna Koro Krishna Shikya Bolo Krishna Bhaja Krishna Koro Krishna Shiksha Aparada Sunya Hoy Loho Krishna Na Aparada Sunya Hoy Loho Krishna Na Krishna Mata Krishna Pita Krishna Dana Pram Krishna Mata Krishna Pita Krishna Dana Pram Krishna Rasam Sara Koro Chariyanacha Krishna Rasam Sara Koro Chariyanacha Jivedoya Krishna Nam Sarva Dharma Sa Jivedoya Krishna Nam Sarva Dharma Sa Nadia Gojrume Nityananda Mahajan Pariyachena Mahata Jivarakaram. In the land of Nadia, on the island of Godrum, the magnanimous Lord Nityananda has opened up the marketplace of the holy name, meant for the deliverance of all fallen souls. O men of faith, O men of faith, by the order of Lord Gauranga, O brothers, I beg you, this one request. Chant Krishna, worship Krishna, and follow Krishna's instructions. Shadavan Janahe, Shadavan Janahe, Prabhu Agai Bai Magiye Bhiksha, Bolo Krishna Bhaja Krishna Koro Krishna Shiksha, Aparat Sunya Hoy Loho Krishna Nam, Krishna Mata Krishna Pita Krishna Dana Pran, Krishna Mata Krishna Pita Krishna Dana Pran. Being careful to remain free of offenses. Just take the holy name of Krishna. Krishna is your mother. Krishna is your father. Krishna is the treasure of your life. Krishnara samsara koro chadiyanacha. Shive doya Krishna nam sarva dharma sa. Shive doya Krishna nam sarva dharma sa. Giving up all improper behavior. Carry on your worldly duties only in relationship to Krishna. The showing of compassion to all fallen souls by loudly chanting the holy name of Krishna is the essence of all forms of religion. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Nityananda Ram, Jaya Nityananda Ram, Jaya Nityananda Ram ki jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Paribrajikacharya Ashotatara Shishimad His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Paribrajikacharya Ashotatara Shishimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Maharaj ki
jai.
Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki. ISKCON Founder Acharya ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki
Jai.
Prem Skoho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki
Jai.
Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakun Radhakun Giri Govardhan ki Vrindavan Dham ki
Jai.
Navadvip Mayapur Dham ki
Jai.
Chakra Dham ki
Jai.
Jagannath Puri Dham ki
Jai.
Gangamaya Yamunamaya ki
Jai.
Bhakti Devi Tulsi Devi ki
Jai.
Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki
Jai.
Samaveda Bhaktivinoda ki Transcendental Appearance Day of Shri Nityananda Ram ki Lord Nityananda Ram ki
Jai.
Shri Nityananda Ram ki
Jai.
Jai.
Nitai Gaur Premanande.
Oh.
Hari Bol.
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Devotees.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
The assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Praise all glories to the lotus feet of Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Namani Namaste.
Krishna.
Shri Guru
Krishna.
Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityananda Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvi Sheshavari Paschatya Deshatarine. Today we'll be reading, or we'll chant a verse, 2 verses from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is the authorized biography of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, written by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. The 5th chapter of the Adi Leela is dedicated to the glories of Lord Nityananda. Please repeat after me. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Nityananda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Dvaita
Jaya Bhaktivinoda.
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Jaya
Jaya
Sri
Jaya
Chaitanya
Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Dvaita
Jaya Advaita Chandra
Chandra
Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Jaya
Jaya
Sri
Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Dvaita
Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
So I'll chant this verse 3 times, and then we'll open it up and devotees can chant. Preme Mata Nityananda Kripa Avatar Uttama Adama Kichuna Kari Vichar. Prema Mata Nityananda Kripa Avatar Uttam Adama Kichuna Kari Vichar. Premim Mata Nityananda Kripa Avatar Uttam Adam Kichuna Kari Vichar. Please chant.
Preme Mata Nityananda Kripa Avatar Uttama Adhama Kichuna Kare Vichar.
Preme Mata Nityananda Kripa Avatar Uttam Adham Kichu Na Kare Vichar.
प्रेमे मत नित्यानंद कृपा अवतार उत्तम आधम किछु ना करे विचार.
Hare Krishna. Premamata Nityananda Kripa Avatar Uttama Adhama Kichu Nakare Vichar. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prema Matta Nityananda Kripa Avatar Uttama Adhama Kichu Nakare Vichar. Hare Krishna. Okay.
Okay, the synonyms. Preme, in ecstatic love. Mata, mad. Nityananda, Lord Nityananda. Kripa, merciful. Avatar, incarnation. Uttam, good. Adam, bad. Kichu, any. Na, not. Kare, makes. Vichar, consideration. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Because he is intoxicated by ecstatic love, and because he is intoxicated by ecstatic love, and is an incarnation of mercy, he does not distinguish between the good and the bad. There's no purport to these verses. A lot of the verses in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, sometimes there's no purports to. But we'll read from, or we'll hear from some Srila Prabhupada's lecture on Nityananda Trayodasi. This next verse. Ye age padye tare karye nishtar ataiva nishtar vila mohina durachar. He delivers all those who fall down before him. Therefore, he has delivered such a sinful and fallen person as me. Om Agyanata Barandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Umliyatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is the Kripa avatar. He is the expansion of the most merciful form of the Lord. We find out that we want to first start off by talking about the tattva of Lord Nityananda, understanding the truth, who he is philosophically as a personality in relationship with Krishna. And we find that Lord Nityananda is none different than Balaram. Narottam Das Thakur has a song where he says, Bajindra Nanda Jai Sachi Suta Hailo Se Balaram Hayal Nitai. That Lord Krishna, who is the son of the king of Raj, in this Kali Yuga, he became the son of Sachi, Lord Chaitanya. And Balaram, he became Nitai. And the reason that they came to this world in this Kali Yuga, they descended, was to give people the holy name, specifically those souls who were lowly and wretched without any hope. Balaram is the first expansion of Lord Krishna. And there are many different expansions. This is the way Krishna functions and works. We do not have this ability as limited living beings. We don't have the ability to expand ourselves. We oftentimes wish we could expand ourselves. We wish that there was many of us so we could do many, many more things, but we're limited, and Krishna is unlimited. So when Krishna performs his activities, in order to allow those activities, to facilitate those activities, Krishna expands himself, both spiritually as well as for this material universe and for this material creation. Lord Balaram is the first expansion, and you could say the first ultimate servant of the Supreme Lord, Krishna. And from Lord Balaram come the creative energy of the Supreme Lord of this material universe. It gets quite complicated, but the Lord creates ultimately through Mahavishnu, Karnadakshayi Vishnu, and then from Karnadakshayi Vishnu, the material world is created, and then Garbhadakshayi Vishnu, and from Garbhadakshayi Vishnu comes from the lotus stem of his navel, Lord Brahma, the first being in this universe, is created, and then from him all the creation takes place. And then from Garbhadakshayi Vishnu again expands into Kshirodakshayi Vishnu, which is the representation of the super soul in everyone's heart. He enters into each living entity, into each atom of this universe. These are all expansions of Lord Balaram. And who is Lord Balaram? Is none different than Lord Nityananda. So Balaram, he is, Balaram means strength. And oftentimes we think of strength in terms of material strength, how to become stronger, physically strong. Srila Prabhupada spoke about this in his lecture on Nityananda Trayodasi. He gave many lectures on Nityananda Trayodasi, this one on February 2nd in Bhubaneswar in 1977. And he said that we oftentimes are thinking in terms of material strength, but actually it's only by spiritual strength that this world is going on. A person is thinking that I am very strong, I am very smart, I can lift a lot of weight, I have to take care of my material body. But actually the strength that is going on that allows one to do that is because of the living force, the Atma, the spirit soul. And it is only because of your ahankara, your false ego, one is thinking that I am this material body. And therefore, by some material adjustment, I will be able to maintain my existence here in the material world. Srila Prabhupada quotes the verse from 3rd chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Hankara Vimuratma, that Kartaham iti manyate. That is because of this, we are identifying ourselves with the material energy, and we are thinking ourselves to be the doer, that we are actually of strength. Srila Prabhupada gives the example that you can see the difference between a dead body and a living body. And the only difference is that the living body has the spirit soul, and that is what gives it strength. And that strength is ultimately coming from Krishna in his expansion of Balaram. You kick a dead body, it does not protest. You kick a live body where there's spirit soul, we actually see some response. So this idea of strength is important because Lord Balaram, as well as Lord Nityananda, represents spiritual strength. And on this day, in particular, we can pray. We can pray all the time. On these appearance days, they are hotspots. They are times where the Lord is extremely merciful, and we too oftentimes become opened up to the Lord's mercy. We want to pray for the spiritual strength in order to navigate this process of Krishna consciousness so that we can overcome the obstacles of this material world. It is not through our own intellect, our material strength. It is not through our physical strength. It is not through any qualification of our own. It is only through any type of spiritual strength that we can have, that we can get a spiritual birth in our next life and not return to this material world of repeated birth and death. When we talk about strength, especially spiritual strength, oftentimes we think of it in terms of, please just give it to me. I am weak, please just give me strength. As if we don't have to do anything for it. And that is not how strength is developed. How is strength developed? Strength is developed through resistance. If a person wants to be able to take tests better and be able to strengthen one's own mind and intelligence. Many of you are parents, what would you do to your children? Would you have them take the easiest classes in school where they don't have to do any type of, they don't assign any homework? No, you would give them, classes that would really challenge them, that would give them a lot of work, because that resistance would actually build up some strength. If you want to develop physical strength, how is that developed? Do you just sit home and just pray, God, give me physical strength? And one day you wake up with these muscles on your body and you're able to lift weights, heavy amounts of weight. It doesn't happen that way. You have to put your body through resistance. You have to go to the gym and, lift more body weight than your own body weight. And this is how it works. So in the spiritual world, when we pray for spiritual strength, the way that the Lord is able to develop our strength, our resistance to this material world, is he gives us difficulties. But those difficulties are special. These are not simply just our karma that is coming. These difficulties are actually ways to strengthen our spiritual resolve, our determination and understanding that Krishna is our supreme destination. Krishna is the goal of life. Srila Prabhupada gives the example. He says that once an Indian gentleman came to him and said, Swamiji, please, you deliver me. And he says, please give me your mercy so that I can follow your instructions. And Srila Prabhupada replied, my mercy is that I've given you my instructions. Now you have to follow them. And he gave the example that if someone has fallen into a well and a benefactor comes down and hands the person a rope, the person cannot now then say, please now curl my fingers around the rope. The benefactor has sent down the rope and he is prepared to pull you out, but you have to hold on to it. So Srila Prabhupada said, my mercy is that I've given you my instructions. Now you have to follow them. So activity has to be on our part. We have to develop that desire and approach the Lord Approach the Lord in a humble state of mind, as is stated in the song that we sung earlier. Aparada sunya hoy loho Krishna nam. Being free to give of offenses, being careful to participate in improper behavior. We have to fall down before Krishna and approach Krishna, saying, Krishna, you are my mother. Krishna, you are my father. Krishna, you are the treasure of my life. And who is there to help us along the way? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is none different than Krishna. He came in the mood of Srimati Radharani, who is looking out and seeing everybody is so lost. We have to give them some hope. And in that mood of extreme compassion of Srimati Radharani, Krishna is now giving out Krishna Prem, pure love of God, which will deliver the people of this world and return them back to the spiritual world, to their original constitution. And the way he executes this is through his associates. He performs this activity himself, but he also engages devotees, his expansions, such as Lord Nityananda. Lord Nityananda is also the representation of Guru. Guru is actually a representation of Lord Nityananda. Is actually the better way to state it. Why? Because the Guru is the most confidential servitor of the Lord. Lord Nityananda, as the first expansion of Krishna, is the original servitor of the Lord. As his expansion as Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, he enters into the hearts of all living entities. And in the heart of all living entities, he performs the activity of the supersoul. The spiritual master is the external representation of the supersoul. This is stated in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. The spiritual master is the representation of Lord Nityananda. Therefore, in the most merciful way, as Sri Nityananda has come to deliver the fallen souls, the spiritual master, acting in service of Lord Nityananda, they have come to deliver on Krishna's behalf people and give them hope of the spiritual world. And how do they do that? Well, this is how Lord Nityananda has done it. Under the order of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he goes out and indiscriminately offers them the process to which we gain their love of Krishna. Prema Matya Nityananda Kripa Avatar, Uttama Adama Kichu Na Kare Vichar. He does not distinguish between the good and the bad. Lord Nityananda, he was intoxicated by ecstatic love, and therefore he's an incarnation of mercy. The way this took place is a very famous pastime. Some of you know it. As an expansion, Krishna called Lord Nityananda. Lord Nityananda, just as Balaram is non-different than Lord Krishna, Lord Nityananda is non-different than Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He called him one day, and he called Haridas Thakur, the Namacharya, and he said, Listen, Nityananda, listen, Haridas. I have an order for you. I want you to go to all the places around Navadvip and not leave anybody. Go to all the streets, go to all the doors of the houses, go to all the businesses, everyone you see. Says, I want you to give them this request. Bolo Krishna, Bhajo Krishna, Koro Krishna Shiksha. What is that? Chant Krishna's name, worship Krishna, and follow Krishna's instructions. Bolo Krishna, Bhajo Krishna, Koro Krishna Shiksha. This is the order of Lord Chaitanya. So they set off. And everyone they saw, they would come up to them and say, Bolo Krishna, Bhajo Krishna, Koro Krishna Shiksha. And just like we do today, when we go out and chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and we request other people to chant. Some people became happy. Some people were disinterested. Some people were inimical. One time they came to a family, and the family was saying to them, yes, they came, they knocked on the door. They looked outside and they thought, oh, some beggars are here. Let's go get them some rice. Let's go get them give them some rice, give them some food, maybe give them some money. And when they would approach Lord Nityananda and say, what would you want? He says, I've come to just beg you to chant the holy names. And if they wouldn't chant the holy names, Lord Nityananda would fall on the ground and he would plead with them, please, on the order of my master, Lord Chaitanya, please just chant the holy names. And if you do this, Krishna Prema will be given to you. Now, Krishna Prema is not an ordinary thing. I'm speaking of it in terms of, oh, Krishna Prema will be given. That must be something you can get anywhere. If I don't take it today, I'll take it tomorrow. I'll just stop by the store and pick some up. No, this can only be given. This can only be received. It cannot be achieved. It cannot be earned. The greatest ascetics and yogis, even some of the greatest of followers of Krishna that worship him in awe and reverence, they cannot understand Krishna's identity in the holy land of Vraj, where he's a cowherd boy and no one knows that he's God. And they love him because of his sweetness, because he's beautiful. Not because they can get something from him, because they just enjoy loving Krishna. And they want nothing but to please Krishna, because that's what makes them supremely happy. And Krishna reciprocates with his devotees in the form of servitude, as a friend, as a child, and then ultimately as a lover. And you may think, well, why is it that Lord Nityananda is giving this out freely? When it's explained that people have undergone lifetimes of meditation, austerity, and prayers, scriptural study, and they have not achieved this. But one knock on the door from Lord Nityananda, and he is making it available. How could that be? So this verse that we chanted today is because he's intoxicated by ecstatic love, and that he's an incarnation of mercy, and he does not distinguish between the good and the bad. All that is required, that we simply fall down and take this mercy from Lord Nityananda, and then that person will be delivered. It doesn't matter how sinful or fallen or what your qualification is. In fact, your only qualification is that you have no qualification. That means you have some humility. It is like the king. This is one example that is given. It is like a king who goes into his treasury at night and just takes out most valuable gems and jewels and money, and just goes around town just giving it out and distributing it to anybody who needs it, with no plan or system. He just indiscriminately just starts giving it out. And he can do that because he's the king. In the same way, Lord Krishna can do this because it is his to distribute. And he employs Lord Nityananda, as well as the spiritual master, to do the same. So this is how Lord Nityananda would interact day in and day out, just going and begging people to please chant the holy name. And those people that would fall down before Lord Nityananda and chant, he would give them pure love of God. This one time Srila Prabhupada was questioned. He was giving a lecture at a university, and he was questioned. He says, "Why do we have to fall down before God? You know, why can't there be some equality?" And Srila Prabhupada defeated the person in terms of equality. He says, "How can you become equal to God? You know, you're limited, and the Lord is unlimited. He has created this world, and you have been created in this world. So how can you be equal to him?" So he says, "Yes, I understand that in terms of it from that perspective. But on a spiritual perspective, you know, why do we have to bow down before God?" And Srila Prabhupada gave the example that there's no question of bowing down before God. It's just a matter of, do you bow down before God willingly or unwillingly? Unwillingly, we bow down before God in so many ways. God, you know, there's catastrophes that come before us. There are material circumstances that we cannot control. And these are all under the control of the Supreme Lord. The material energy is all functioning as one of his energies. And then ultimately, at the time of death, we have to bow down. This is unwilling. But if we willingly bow down and try to develop a relationship with the Supreme Lord, that relationship is completely different. We see it from a much different perspective. God as death, bowing down before God as death, is like a mouse that gets bitten by a cat in the back of the neck. And he knows right away, I'm finished. Bowing down before the Lord willingly, out of duty, out of love, out of respect, out of philosophical understanding that I am an eternal spirit soul meant to serve Krishna. Then it is like a kitten being bitten on the back of the neck by the cat. He realizes, I am not finished. I'm actually protected. I'm actually rightly situated. I actually feel love. Those jaws, those teeth, they actually feel like love. So that is the difference. We all have to bow down. And what better person to bow down to than Lord Nityananda, who is saying, I will give you everything if you just take these holy names. So he didn't discriminate, went door to door. And one day they heard this big ruckus that was going on, big commotion. And they saw these two individuals, and they were like gangsters. They were employed in some way by the government, but they were bad. So they were really just horrible, horrible people. Their names were Jagai and Madai. They were previously born as Brahmanas, Jagadananda and Madhavananda. But due to their bad association and sinful behavior, they became so corrupted. They would beat people. They would mistreat women. They would light people's homes on fire. They were always drunk. They would kill animals for fun, beat people for fun. They would go into stores and shops and just break things. And because they had some position, sometimes we see this, some influence, that they were unable to be stopped. And no one wanted to approach them and challenge them. Everybody lived in fear. So Lord Nityananda said, what better people, Haridas, to make devotees of Lord Chaitanya than these two brothers, Jagai and Madai? Haridas Thakur said, are you crazy? He said, and he says, actually, you are crazy. You are mad. You're mad with love of Krishna. And this is and because you see everybody as a potential candidate to go, to return to their eternal service of Krishna, he said, let's do it. So they approached them and says, Bolo Krishna, Bhajo Krishna, Koro Krishna Shiksha. They became infuriated. Do you know who we are? We are Jagai and Madai. How dare you speak to us like this? And then they started chasing them with clubs. Lord Nityananda and Haridas Thakur had to run for their lives. Haridas Thakur was concerned. He was older. Nityananda, he was laughing the whole way. He was Navadut, or a transcendental madman. He had no fear. Of course, he was Lord Balaram himself. But even in this Leela, he had no fear. And they returned, they escaped, and they got back to Lord Chaitanya later on. And he asked, what is the report for the day? And he would tell them, we went to this person's house and we met this person. Lord Chaitanya was very pleased to hear of the activities of preaching the holy name. And he came to this Haridas Thakur, we encountered these people, they're horrible behavior. Started to explain, the things that they've done. Actually, Lord Chaitanya inquired, who are these people? And Lord Nityananda, he said, I want to deliver them. Lord Chaitanya became very concerned. He says, by the mercy of you, Nitai, because you are the most merciful, they will be delivered. And Lord Chaitanya was very happy to see this mood of sacrifice on behalf of everyone. This mood of not discriminating between who is sinful and who is righteous. And all Lord Nityananda wanted to do is say, If we can make these two devotees, everybody will believe that this process works. If you take the most sinful person and make them into a pure devotee, no one can question the validity of the Sankirtan movement. The glories will be spread all throughout the region. Jagai and Madai can become nice Vaishnavas. The process will be shown to be infallible. Because many times people would just think, oh, this is not for me. I don't have the time right now. I'll take up spiritual life when I'm older. We have bills to pay. We have children to put through college. The same problems that we have today, people were using those same excuses back then. Maybe it's not for me. I heard last week when they were out on book distribution, there was a little boy, Mother Vinyavali, you were telling the story. There was a little boy, he was interested in taking the Bhagavad Gita, and his father was saying, okay, you can get it. But the mother was saying, no, this is not for you right now. Please put it back. Again, he's saying, please, mother, let me take it. She's saying, no, leave that alone. That will ruin your life. So the same things were going on back then and they're going on today. They were saying, not now, sometime later. But Lord Nityananda said, if we can make these two examples, everybody will become devotees. And Lord Chaitanya's glory will be known throughout the world. So Lord Nityananda was determined. They went back out, again knocking on doors. And as they turned the corner one day, they saw the two brothers in a drunken state, Jagai and Madai. And they recognized Lord Nityananda and Haridas. They started to move toward them and move after them. They remembered them, these two beggars that approached them to try to make them into devotees of Krishna, to try to tell them what to do. What did Lord Nityananda do? The same command he gave them before. Bolo Krishna, Bhajo Krishna, Koro Krishna Shiksha. Please take Krishna's name. Worship Krishna. Follow Krishna's instructions. Give up this sinful life of yours. Just follow me. I will take you to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and you will be delivered. This time, one of the brothers named Madhai, he picked up a big clay pot that was there sitting on somebody's step and smashed it down on Lord Nityananda's head, knocking Lord Nityananda to the ground. Blood started to pour out of his forehead and onto the ground. People were shocked. Oh my gosh, this nice sadhu. It's one thing to criticize or say no thank you or give some excuse why you don't want to do it. Say some words under your breath of what you think, but to actually take up physical violence on a sadhu and not just push him to that, but just to take a pot and smash it on his head, knocking him to the ground. Word quickly got back to Lord Chaitanya. And Lord Chaitanya is the Supreme Lord himself, manifested himself there on the scene immediately. He pulled out although Lord Chaitanya never manifested himself as Krishna in public because he was in the disguise of his devotee. He came to this world to deliver this world and show everybody how to properly execute devotional service as Krishna's devotee. So very rarely did he manifest himself as Lord Krishna. And when he did, it was always in private to a couple confidential devotees. But here he manifests as Sudarshan Chakra, the weapon used for killing demons. And when the brothers Jagai and Madai saw this, they realized their life was about to end. And they fell down at the feet of Lord Chaitanya and said, please, and they were begging for their lives. Lord Chaitanya said, it is too late. You have harmed, you've injured Nityananda. And Lord Nityananda is the closest person to me in this world. He's the most dear person to me. There's nobody that I consider to be higher than Lord Nityananda. And for no reason at all, any reason would not be acceptable. For no reason at all, you've put him in this condition. And the Lord instructed something very clear here, that the Lord does not tolerate abuse against his devotees. Getting ready to sever their heads with the Sudarshan chakra. Lord Nityananda turned to Lord Chaitanya and pleaded on behalf of Jagai and Madai, please do not harm them. Please, this is not your mission here in this world. Yes, previously, in Dwapara Yuga, when you appeared as Krishna, you came to kill all the demons and rid the earth of the burden of all the demoniac forces that were present, thus relieving Bhumi of the pain that she was going through. But now that we are in Kali Yuga, if we were to kill all the demons, no one will be left, because everybody has this demoniac mentality. Everyone is fallen. Your mission is different. Therefore, better we deliver these two and make them your devotees than to sever their heads and end their lives. Madhavananda prayed. Madhai said, in Jagai, he said, I didn't do anything. He said, it was Madhai that hit him. And Lord Nityananda, he said, yes, it is true. He says, Madhai was about to hit me again in Jagai. He intervened and said, stop, you cannot hit this sadhu. And he prevented further beatings from happening to me. Both of Jagai and Madhai falling at the feet of Lord Chaitanya, begging for forgiveness. Lord Chaitanya, he says, because you have helped, he told Jagai, he says, because you have helped Lord Nityananda and protected him from further beatings, I will pardon you. But Madhai, I cannot forgive you. And he prayed, he says, please, my Lord, I will do anything. He says, only if you receive the mercy and the forgiveness of Lord Nityananda. He says, if you get his forgiveness, then I will be forced to forgive you. Falling at the feet of Lord Nityananda, Madhai begged for forgiveness. I will do anything. I will change my life around. My life today has truly been transformed. Lord Nityananda again repeated, Bolo Krishna, Bhajo Krishna, Koro Krishna Shiksha. Krishna Mata, Krishna Pita, Krishna Dana Pran. Chant Krishna's name, worship Krishna. Follow the instructions of Krishna. Give up your sinful activity. Make Krishna is your mother, Krishna is your father, Krishna is the treasure of your life. The mother and father are everything. They are the creators of the child. When somebody says, you are my mother, you are my father, you are my everything. Lord Nityananda accepted the apology of Madhai. And then he embraced him. Lord Chaitanya said, from this day forward, you guys are now delivered. But not because of me, because of the mercy and the kindness and compassion of Lord Nityananda. Later on, actually, Lord Chaitanya had embraced these two brothers. And for a moment, Lord Chaitanya's body turned black. Symbolizing the sins had been transferred and that they'd been purified. It didn't stay like that for very long. Lord Chaitanya returned to his molten gold color, Gauranga. Jagai and Madhai were then given the orders to, because he had offended so many people, to go down to the bathing ghat. And each of them have a bathing ghat, Jagai and Madhai ghat. This is where people would enter into the Ganga. When they would go to take a bath in the Ganga and worship the Ganga, serve them, fall at the people's feet, and beg for forgiveness. Serve them. Take up a very seemingly low service socially. And people will see that you're reformed. And if people retaliate against you, take a straw between your teeth, and become humble like a blade of grass. And when people see that Jagai and Madhai have now become Vaishnavas, that will leave an impression upon their hearts. And you will also gain the favor of them. This is the mercy of Lord Nityananda. This is also the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. There are many parallels, because again, spiritual master is the representation of Lord Nityananda, the original spiritual master, Lord Balaram, Chaitya Guru. Srila Prabhupada came to America. He didn't distinguish between who is fit and who is unfit. When you read about those original days in the Bowery on the Lower East Side, people were drug addicts. They were hippies. They accepted everyone. One time he was staying in the house of somebody, an apartment of a person. He thought, I can make this person into a Vaishnava. I can get him to chant the holy name and change his corrective ways. Person one day was on LSD, and he went on this trip when he started becoming violent with his behavior and attacked Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada had to run for his life. He would go from house to house, just trying to make people Krishna conscious. He would stay with this person, then he would stay at Carl Jagan's house. Finally, they got them placed in the Lower East Side, the 26th 2nd Avenue, Matchless Gifts, which is the first Hare Krishna temple. You can still go there today. A little storefront. And in that storefront, he would share the bathroom with all these people who would be taking drugs and hippies. In the morning, he would go down, take his bath, and use the toilet. And he would stand in line with them. One day they thought, maybe we should let Swamiji go first. And then during the day, what would he do? He would cook for them and feed them with his own hands. Last thing I want to say about Lord Nityananda is that it is by the mercy of Lord Nityananda that we will get Lord Chaitanya. Mother Sudamani, Srila Prabhupada said this in Los Angeles, and Mother Sudamani, she and her husband Ravinda Shri Prabhu, for those that you are new, they managed and ran the temple here in Philadelphia from the 70s all the way through the early 2010s, for over 40 years, installing the deities and worshiping the care and taking care of the devotees for many, many years. And the original deities in Philadelphia were the Jagannath deities. And they had a desire to get Radha Krishna deities. So they started the process. And she heard Srila Prabhupada say directly that if you want to worship Shri Shri Radha Krishna, first you have to get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. And this is actually in a song by Narottam Das Thakur in Nitai Pada Kamala, that if one wants to know who Radha Krishna is, you can only do that really through the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. And then Srila Prabhupada said, if you want the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, you have to go through Lord Nityananda. And if you get the mercy of Lord Nityananda, he will then take you to Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya, Mahaprabhu Sri Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahayanya. Lord Chaitanya is non-different than Radha and Krishna. It's Krishna in the mood of Srimati Radharani. If you want to get the mercy of Lord Nityananda, we have to follow his representative, the spiritual master, coming down through parampara. There is no other way. We cannot approach Krishna directly. This is constantly stated over and over again in our teachings. It is only through the mercy of the spiritual master. Once Srila Prabhupada said, when you go to the spiritual world, when on your way back to the spiritual world, you'll come to the gates. And I don't know if this was something very figuratively to Srila Prabhupada to state a point that how unqualified we were. He said, you will come to the doors, the gates, and the gatekeepers, they will sit there and they will laugh and say, really? You have come? And then we will say, we are with A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And then they will say, oh, yes, of course. Come on in. It is not through our strength. It is not through our sadhana. It is not because we know a couple shlokas and can repeat Sanskrit very nicely. It is not because we know Akshman in the way we think is proper, or, whatever we do is not enough when we add it together. We are demonstrating that we are somewhat sincere and that we are able to bow down before Krishna in a willing way. We have to try, we have to make some effort. But if we ever think that on our own effort, our own ability, that we are going to approach Krishna, we are fools. However, if we accept the mercy of Lord Nityananda and we accept the service of the spiritual, if we accept to serve the spiritual master, accept the mercy that is given. And we hear Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Gurudev, Kripa Bindu Diya, Kuro Edasi. Your mercy is all that I am made of. It is not because I am some great, I can cook a great feast, or I can lead a great kirtan, or I can, do something special on the computer, or create a great website. These are all small efforts that we make But it's only by the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu coming down through Lord Nityananda, coming down through the spiritual master, that we are able to approach Krishna. And there's some protocols that are representative of this, and I'll end on this. When we come into the temple, we first bow down to the spiritual master. And then from there, we approach the altar of Sri Sri Gaur Nitai. And then we offer prayers to Gaur Nitai. And then we offer prayers to Jagannath Baladev and Subhadra, and then to Sri Sri Radha Sharad Bihari, Sri Sri Radha Krishna. Sometimes you'll see people go directly to Radha Krishna. Well, there are my deities. I'm just a devotee of Radha and Krishna. I don't know this Nityananda. I don't know this Chaitanya. What can they do for me? I just know Radha Krishna. This is not what Srila Prabhupada has given us. This is not what the Acharyas have said. This is not the mood that Lord Krishna has actually given in his form of Lord Chaitanya. When Lord Krishna, after giving his instructions on the Bhagavad Gita, realized, who will follow these instructions? Who can understand these instructions? What practical way can people become delivered from this world and attain love for me? He realized he had not given the process. And that was another reason for Lord Chaitanya's descent in Kali Yuga. So the whole purpose of the avatar of Sri Sri Gaur Nitai, of their coming, was because to approach Krishna directly is nearly impossible without the mercy of Chaitanya and Nityananda. So with this, I will conclude. We beg Srila Prabhupada, he said that we can, on this day, we can pray to Lord Nityananda. And he concluded his lecture. He says, we shall always pray, Nityananda Prabhu, kindly keep me under your shelter. I am very dukhi. I am very unhappy. Under the shelter of your lotus feet, I shall be happy. And you are Nityananda, eternally happy. Thank you. And that is real happiness. And he always concluded, thank you very much. Shri Nityananda Ram Ki Jai. So tonight we will continue to worship and glorify Lord Nityananda. We'll have kirtan starting at 6:30 with Arti class, and then we will have Pushpa Abhishek, and also today is a half-day fast for devotees in honor of Lord Nityananda. Any questions on the glories of Lord Nityananda? It's important. I started off with the tattva, understanding that he's not different than Lord Balaram and who Lord Balaram is, and also that that the Guru is the representation of the mercy of Lord Nityananda. So I want everybody to understand that point. Also, how we approach. We don't approach Radha Krishna directly. We approach Radha Krishna first through the spiritual master, then through Lord Nityananda, then to Lord Chaitanya, and then by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, he reveals Radha Krishna. Any questions on that, or thoughts or comments? Okay. Thank you all. I know we went late today. No breakfast today because we're half-day fast, so sometimes we do a longer class. Anything? If not, I want to end with a little bit of kirtan. There's a song here. I'll put up another glorification of Lord Nityananda. of Nitai Parakamala, a very sweet song. Nitai Parakamala is the merciful feet of Lord Chaitanya. I'll put up, if anybody wants to read, we can read together. Some interaction here. It's the song there on the right. I'll do the translation starting here. I don't know if anybody, sometimes people are at work, sometimes people are driving, they're not able to talk. I know a lot of times I'm like that too, but for those that are, we can read this translation. Somebody would like to start off here with one. I'll break for a second. If nobody says anything, then I will. The lotus feet of Lord Nityananda are the shelter where one will get the soothing moonlight. Not only one, but millions of moons. If the world wants to have real peace, it should take shelter of Lord Nityananda. Unless one takes shelter of the shade of the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda, it will be very difficult for him to approach Radha and Krishna. If one actually wants to enter into the dancing party of Radha and Krishna, he must firmly catch hold of the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda. Anyone who is not established in his relationship with Lord Nityananda is understood to have spoiled his valuable human birth. Such a human being is actually an uncomfortable animal, uncontrollable animal. Because he never uttered the holy name of Nityananda, he has become merged into so-called material happiness. What can his useless education and family tradition do to help him? Anyone want to read? Being maddened after false prestige and identification with the body, one is thinking, oh, what is Nityananda? This is important. Being maddened after false prestige and identification with the body, one is thinking, oh, what is Nityananda? What can he do for me? I don't care. The result is that he is accepting something false to be truth. If you actually want to approach the association of Radha and Krishna, you must first achieve the mercy of Nityananda. When he is merciful towards you, then you will be able to approach Radha and Krishna. Therefore, you should firmly grasp the lotus feet of Nityananda. So sometimes we hear this, right? I mentioned. Who is Nityananda? Who is this Gauranga? Why do I need him? I'll just go right to Radha Krishna. Narottam Das Thakur says you're an illusion if you have this mentality. The lotus feet of Nityananda are not illusion. They are a fact. One who engages in the transcendental loving service of Nityananda is also transcendental. Always try to catch the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda. This Narottam Das Thakur is very unhappy. Therefore, I am praying to Lord Nityananda to make me happy. My dear Lord, please keep me close to your lotus feet. This is Nitai Parakamala, a song by Narottam Das Thakur. It's a very sweet song. If devotees have to go, you can go. I just want to chant this for the pleasure and beg for the mercy of Lord Nityananda. Hopefully he will be pleased by our call, our cry out to him, our glorification. And he can bestow upon us the spiritual strength to, as Srila Prabhupada said, grab that rope, that process which has been given to us of chanting the holy names and take it very seriously. Nitai Parakamala Koti Chandra Shushitala Nitai pada kamala koti chandra shushitala jaya jagata jure heno nitai binabai Radha Krishna paite nai Dridha kori daro nitai pai Se sambandha nahi ja Brita janma gelota Se pasubaro duracha Nitai nabai lo mukhe Majilo samsara sukhi Vidyakuli Puri kikoru bita Ahankare mata huilaya Nitai para pashariya Asatyare satya kurimani Nitayer karuna habe Braje Radha Krishna Pabe Daro Nitai Charana Dukani Nitayer Charana Satya Tahare Sevaka Nitya Nitai Para Sarakuro Asa Naratama Boroduki Nitai Morokuro Suki Rako Ranga Charana Basa Nitai Parakamala Koti Chandra Shushitala Jechaya Jagata Jure Hino Nitai Binabai Radha Krishna paite nai Dridha kori doro nitar pai Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Gaura Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Shri Nityananda Rama Ki Jai. Bolo Krishna. Bolo Krishna. Bolo Krishna. Bolo Krishna Shiksha. Chant Krishna's name. Follow Krishna's instructions. And worship Krishna. Bolo Krishna, Bhajo Krishna, Koro Krishna Shiksha. That is our instructions as well. Hare Krishna, everyone. Have a wonderful day. Hope to see you tonight, starting at 6:30 at the temple. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Very nectarian class.
Jai Shri Nityananda Rama ki jai.